Well, our scriptural text today comes from the book of Job, the Old Testament. Many of you may not realize this, but Job is one of the oldest books of the Bible. The Bible, as we have it in the collection of books that we have, is not necessarily arranged in chronological order. In fact, the book of Job is so old that it would actually be interwoven into parts of Genesis. So it's actually one of the oldest books in Scripture. Job chapter 28, verse 27, reading from the English Standard Version of Scripture, notice these words. Then he saw it and declared it. He established it and searched it out. And I'm talking today from the subject, see it, say it, seed it. See it, say it, seed it. This is a pattern given to us by God. It gives us a window into the modus operandi of God. In terms of how God created the earth, this is in reference to how God used his infinite level of wisdom to create the earth, the rains, the storms, everything that we experience in the earth. He saw it and declared it. He established it and searched it out. Now, when the Bible says that God searched it out, I know that's a bit misleading to say, yea, he searched it out, as though God was trying to figure out or prove and test that this was going to work. He's omniscient. He's God. God knows the outcome of the experiment before it starts. So he's not trying to prove anything to himself. I believe that when God was searching it out, he was saying that I'm doing this in such an intricate and divine and mysterious ways that even when man tries to figure out how I did this, it will be unfathomable to mankind. It will be beyond their ability to search it out. They won't be able to search it out. So God wanted to do it in such a way that his divine signature was on it, to say that this is only the work of the living God. Just think about this. He said then that he saw it. He saw it, and then he declared it, and then he established it, and then he searched it out. Notice what God did. He saw it. So I say to you today, we can follow this principle, because this is a God design, that you see it, you say it, and you seed it. There are people that see stuff that they want to do. They see things that they want. They see what they want to become. They see it and they will say it, but they don't seed it. They don't seed for it. And let me just give you a secret here. You don't get merely what you pray for, you get what you sow for. You get what you sow for. You know, I was serving, my wife and I were serving in the ministry of another mega church, not in a pulpit ministry. We were serving in the nursery, taking care of babies. And do you know my faithfulness to another man's vision? From 1 week I was in the nursery taking care of babies 1 week, and the next week I was called to the senior pastorate position of a Baptist church. If you're faithful to that belongs to another man, God will trust you with that is to be your own. You have to see it, say it, and then seed for it. See it, say it, and seed it. See it, say it, and seed it. That you have to seed for what you want to harvest in your life. You have to seed it. You have to sow good seeds. You have to make it a process and a principle of your life each day. I'm going to sow good seeds. There are some people that keep reaping bad stuff, but listen, if you sow enough good seeds, your harvest is coming. Just sow good seeds. And you don't have to reap it today. You sow today for what you'll need 10 years down the road. You sow today for something that will bless your children and bless your grandchildren. So it's not even about what you need today. Your sowing is not for this season. You sow in one season, but you reap in another. And even when you're faithful to sow where you are, God can bless you to be able to reap from fields that you have not sown. But one principle is true, is that you reap what you sow. Not what you intended to sow, you reap what you sow. You see, God set a system in motion. That's just what God did. He set a system in motion. Sowing and reaping. God set a system in motion here. And I wanted you to see here that goals are for people who care about winning once. Goals. Some people love to set goals. Goals are just about for people who care about winning once. But systems are for people who care about winning repeatedly. If you want other people to win, you need to create a system. If you want the people that's coming after you to be able to win, you have to create a system. God created a system. This is a system here in Job chapter 28 and verse 27. See it, say it, seed it. It's a principle. It's a system. So that it didn't just work for God. God is Elohim. Elohim means creator God. We are made in his image. That's why we are creative people. We're a creative being. So you have to see it, you have to say it, and you have to seed it. There are people that run their mouth about stuff. They're talking about stuff that they've never seen. You have to see it first. See it first, and then say it. Faith is seeing as God sees. When you really have faith, you see it. If you can't see yourself with it, if you can't see yourself doing it, you don't have faith for it. Let me give you a glimpse of this. That when God is really doing something in your life, you'll be someplace, you'll watch somebody, a person might have aspirations to be a dancer. And they'll go to a performance and see somebody else dancing, but guess what? They'll have a little mini vision, M-I-N-I vision, and see themselves up there dancing. See themselves up there singing. See themselves up there speaking. They'll see themselves on the platform because God will give you a vision. Once you can see yourself doing it, that's when you have the faith. You know you have faith because faith is seeing. Faith always sees something. Faith always sees something. Faith always sees something. Faith is seeing like God sees. That's why you have to see it first. You can go no place in reality that you have not first been at by imagination, through vision, through revelation, through somehow that God showed it to you in a dream, in a vision of the night. You have to see it. Then once you have a dream, you have to talk about it. Suppose Martin Luther King had a dream and never told anybody. He had to get out and say, I have a dream. He had to say what he had dreamed about. I mean, if you've got a dream, you need to talk about it. I know that it got Joseph in trouble, but you talk about whatever is abundantly in your heart. Sight is a function of the eyes, but vision is a function of the heart. And whatever is abundantly in your heart, you're going to talk about. So Joseph talked about what was in his heart, even though it meant that his brothers got jealous. And you know the contrived story of what happened, of what they did to him and the trouble that it caused in his life. But God used this trouble to prepare him for where he was going. So you have to see something. You have to see it. You have to see it, and then you have to say it, and then you have to seed it. You have to seed it. You have to seed it. So when you seed something, you sow for success. When you seed something, you sow for its success. When you are seeding something, you sow for its success. There are a lot of people that see stuff and say stuff, but they never seed for it. And you're not serious until you seed for it. Anybody can see, anybody can say, but not anybody is willing to seed. See it, say it, seed for it. 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 When you seed for something, that means that you plan for it, plan for it. It's almost like writing your grocery list out before you go to the grocery store. This is like designing the layout of the field before you get ready to sow it. And you know that I'm going to have my peas over here, my corn is over here, my pole beans are going to be over here. You have to have a layout of your garden before you start sowing the garden. You just don't go out there with some packets and then just start throwing them indiscriminately anywhere. You have to have a plan for it. You have to plan for it. That's why you have to see it in your own minds. That is the architectural design of what you intend to build. See it. And then you have to prepare for it. When you prepare for it, that means that you have to plow up the ground. I mean, preparing it, I mean, just saying that I'm going to put my tomatoes over here and I'm going to put my okra over here. That's one thing. But it's another thing for you to plow up that ground and actually prepare for it. You prepare for it. See, when a man takes a woman out to wine her and dine her, he's preparing her for the sowing of his seed. Careful, ladies, careful. Careful, ladies. I always say, ladies, listen, always take your own money in case he tries to make you feel obligated. for something that you are not willing to compromise yourself on. Pay them back if they tell you how much the dinner costs and how much the tickets cost to the concert. Just be willing to reimburse them. They might have to take you to an ATM, but just whatever is necessary. Whatever is necessary, but prepare for it. Plow up the ground. So you can't just plan for it and write out the grocery list. You got to go shopping and get the items. You got to make the contacts. You got to build the partnerships. You have to prepare for whatever it is that you want. There are a lot of people that see stuff and they don't ever prepare for it. They see it and they say it, but they never seed for it. Seeding for something is planning for it, it is preparing for it, and then it is testing it. See, God doesn't have to test it to see if it's going to work. He already knows. I think that was thrown in there for us. We have to test it. That means search it and research it. There's certain things that you have to research. It can save you a lot of mistakes because somebody has already failed in it. Research it, research it, search it and research it. Search it and research it. See, has anybody else done this? And if nobody is doing it this way, I wonder, is there a reason why they don't do it that way? It may not be cost effective to do it that way. It may be too labor intensive to do it that way. It may be too time consuming to do it that way. You better find out from somebody who's already doing it, because you can be innovative and you think that you're God's gift to the world and that you got a unique perspective on things, but you better search it and research it. So you have to plan for it, prepare for it, and then you have to test it. And listen, as you dream, make sure that it is a God dream and not a selfish dream. Because God's not interested in helping people just with their own selfish ambition. He's not just trying to get people to just live their own little selfish dreams. There are a lot of people that dream, they put their vision boards up, and it has nothing to do with the kingdom of God. Dream a God dream. A God dream makes things better for others. A selfish dream only makes things better for you. I just want to give you just a couple of distinctions here. I mean, a God dream inspires hope in others. A selfish dream only inspires hope in you. A God dream builds a legacy. A selfish dream builds a resume. A God dream requires God's favor and God's power in order to become a reality. But a selfish dream can be realized by your own abilities, by your finagling, by your manipulations, by your own connections. There are some things that you can do by the arm of the flesh, but the arm of the flesh is not sustainable. So I encourage you, dream a God dream. Dream a God dream, something that God gives you. You know why? Because if God gives you a dream, your dream is going to bless other people. Your dream is going to be an answer. Listen, your dream is going to be an answer to somebody else's nightmare. Sometimes your dream might be to be able to do something to make people laugh, because the world has so much sadness, and laughter does good like a medicine. You know, and I don't know about you, but I get enough, sorrow and different disappointing news that happens in ministry. So I feed myself a steady diet of laughter. You know, the world is a sad place for a lot of people, and there are a lot of sad situations that happen. So pain will schedule itself. So I take it upon myself to schedule my pleasure, because pain will schedule itself. So you have to learn how to do that. And as you realize that God so loved the world, He loved the world that He gave. God so loved the world that He gave. And see, God is concerned about human beings living in community, not in isolation. Let me say that it is the curse of America with our individualism. As long as we have enough just for me and myself, God built us to live in community. People need people. People need people. Will you say that with me? People need people. I know that some people are trifling and some people get on your nerves, but people need people. Do you know that God has to have cantankerous people in the world, because there has to be somebody for you to forgive in order for the principle of God's grace and forgiveness to operate in your life? You can't even mature in your Christian character if you didn't have trying people. Some of you have to thank your spouse right now just for helping you to just become who and what you need to be. That's why you sometimes have to have children that try your soul, because they teach you how to pray, they teach you how to love, they teach you how to forgive. I mean, you have, if you don't, you won't be developed in your godly character. God has a plan for all of it. You may not understand it, but that doesn't mean that God doesn't have a plan for it. God has a plan for it. As you dream, the goal is formed. As you speak, the promise is made. And as you step, the path appears. It was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. that said that faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. You have to be willing to take the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. That's what a part of faith is. That's what a part of faith is. And so I just encourage you, dream a God dream. Dream a God dream. A God dream is not something that you just get in your sleep. A God dream is something that keeps sleep from you. When you have a God dream, you don't really have it, it has you. And the way that you know that you have a God dream, that God dream will wake you up at 1:25 in the morning. It'll wake you up at 2:38. It'll wake you up at 3:13. It'll wake you up at 4:12. Anybody ever had a God dream and have your dream that's kicking on the inside of you wake you up at odd hours of the night and you're like, Lord, can this just wait until the morning? No. When you've got a God dream on the inside of you, it will wake you up at the oddest times of day or night, because you don't really have the dream. The dream has you. And it will call you to say, get up, let's have a board meeting. Let's start thinking about ideas. I'm not going to wait until 9:25 when you've had an opportunity to get up and shower and exercise and have your breakfast. We're going to have a meeting right now. I'm going to throw ideas at you. If you lay there in the bed, you're not going to go back to sleep. You may as well count the ceiling tiles, because you are going to be awake, and we're getting ready to have a board meeting, because the dream has you. It's good to be able to have something that has arrested your life. But I want you to realize this, that God never gives you a dream that matches your budget according to your bank account. I just want you to understand that. God never gives you a dream that matches your budget. If you can bankroll the dream that God gives you, it's not big enough. It didn't come from Him. He will never give you something that you can do without His help. If you can bankroll the whole thing, it's too small. It's too small. And you have to realize this, goals give us focus, but dreams give us power. Dreams inspire us. Martin Luther King didn't say, I have a goal. Goals give focus, but dreams give power. They empower us. And I've seen a lot of people with dreams and visions, and you know, as a senior pastor over the past few decades, I've had folks who come to me with their dreams, their visions. And not every dream and not every vision is for this house. It's not an indictment against the vision or the one who gave the vision. Let me give you some principles of things that I've come to learn over the course of the years. That when you have a dream or a vision, God will tell you to do a few things with it. Number one, He'll say, run with it, go for it. He'll give you the green light, so just go for it. Run with the vision. Write the vision, make it plain, and run with it. Run, so that everybody that reads it, run. God will give you a vision, say, go with that thing right now. Go for it. Now is the time. Go for it. He'll give you a green light. But number two, sometimes He'll say, hold it. God will give you a vision, say, wait. No, don't quit your job yet. I'm trying to help you now. I'm trying to help you. You don't always just quit your job just because God gave you a dream last night. And then you up the next morning write you in your letter of resignation. No, hold it. Wait for the appropriate time to implement it. God is not a God of time. God is a God of timing. In the fullness of time. A dream is like a baby. It matures in the womb of your spirit. And so it's like a seed, it begins to grow and germinate. And when God gives you the seed of an idea, of a dream or a vision, it is not full grown. You'll see some different elements and you'll say, that's supposed to be a part of what God gave me. And it grows, it morphs, because a dream is a living entity. It's a living organism. It continues to grow, so God will say, hold it. Sometimes He'll say, go for it. Go. It's the time now. Release it. Run with that vision right now. But other times He'll say, hold it. You're not ready for it, or the world is not ready for you, or the season is not yet ready. So don't try to push before you have dilated, because you'll swell your cervix. He says, hold it. Just hold it. Then the third thing that God will tell you to do with your dream is submit it. Submit it to the leadership that you're under. Because perhaps your dream is to be a part of a larger dream, a larger vision. And as I mentioned, sometimes you have to sow into somebody else's dream before God will send others to help you with yours. You have to sow into another dream before God will send somebody to help you with yours. So you have to submit the dream. You have to submit the dream and say, God, I know that you gave this to me, but I'm going to submit this. And maybe, God, if you can use this in this place, this is what God has given me. If there's a place here that this can be used to enhance the vision of this house, I submit this in this organization, in this company. If there's a way that I can use this, you'll be surprised. Just submit it, and sometimes God can bless you, because sometimes he'll tell you to run with it. Sometimes he'll tell you to hold it. Sometimes he'll tell you to submit it. But then other times, number 4, he will tell you, move it to another place. Because everything happens in a place. Sometimes he'll just say, move it to another place. And you do this only as you're led by God. You don't just move it to another place because you got frustrated with trifling people. You do that under the direction of the Holy Spirit. And because where you may be may not be the place that your vision is intended to be. Can you imagine? God says, Abraham, get up and go to a land that I'll show you. Because I'm going to do something for you, but it's not here. It's not here. Because if you try to do it here, the people who know you too well are going to discourage it out of you. And they're into so much voodoo and paganism. I need to take you and give you a fresh start, Abraham, because I'm going to do something that is a paradigm shift in your life and in your culture and in your family. So I've got to get you away from old paradigms. I've got to get you away from systems and things that intimidate you and things of where people have totally defined you by whose child you are and where you were raised. I got to take you away from that, because I'm getting ready to break the mold on your life, Abraham. And I'm going to do something that I haven't done in any of your other relatives' lives. And see, when nobody else has ever finished school, and when nobody else has ever stayed out of jail, and when nobody else has ever been able, to keep a job steadily, and God has to sometimes get you away from that so that he can expose you to something different and then work that thing. So sometimes he'll tell you to move the dream or the vision to another place. Let me give you just elucidate this for a little more, just the steps to realizing a God dream or vision. Number 1, just see it. Because once you see something, you cannot unsee it. Once God has given you a glimpse of things that are to come, you got to have a vision. I'm just telling you, people are depressed because they don't see a better future for themselves. You got to see something. We've got more cases now of spiritual blindness than I have ever seen in human history, where people cannot see a God future for them. God has a future for you. He declared it in Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. God says, I've got some plans. I want you to see what I see. He's asking us the question, do you see what I see? Can you see it? See it. But dreams require work, because a dream is nothing more than an architectural design. A dream is nothing more than a blueprint. And blueprints don't build themselves. Blueprints don't build themselves. Blueprints don't build themselves. Please make a note of that. Blueprints don't build themselves. They don't build themselves. Dreams require work, because blueprints don't build themselves. Michael Bernard Beckwith said, don't look for your dreams to become true. He says, look to become true to your dreams. There's certain things that you got to look to become true to. You got to become true to it, and then it'll become true. But this is the ability to just see it. And did you know that there's sometimes that it's interesting how men and women have different vision perception? A man will be looking for the milk, he'll be looking for the butter in the refrigerator. And he's standing there, in the refrigerator door open, and where's the butter? And she said, well, it's in there, it's on the top shelf. I don't see, where is it? I don't see it. And he's standing there, and if it were a snake, it would have bitten him. And then his little darling wife comes, and she puts her hand right on it and shows it to them. Do you know why? You know why that is? Because women have the ability generally to see better up close. Men can see better far away. So if a man is going to find the butter in the refrigerator, he's going to have to step back. But the woman is up close. She can see it up close. And listen, you need both. You need both perspective. And sometimes you're too close to something to even see that God has already got it right there in your vision. So sometimes you need somebody that has that close-up vision, because you'll be hollering about something. Where's this? And then they can come and put their hand right on it. And it's standing there. And had it been a snake, it would have bitten you. And so the question is, do you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? Because that's the first step. Because you can't do better until you can see better. You cannot do better until you can see better. And as I mentioned, your dream ought to be the answer to somebody else's nightmare, whatever is troubling somebody else. And let me just remind you of this, that inside every self-made man, inside every self-made woman, is nothing but a poor kid who followed their dream. Inside of every self-made man or woman is a poor kid who followed their dream. And this is what I'd say to you. Make sure that you get connected to at least one person who will never make you feel ashamed to have a dream bigger than your reality. You have to make sure that you stay connected to at least one person who will never make you feel ashamed to have a dream bigger than your reality. Because some folks don't want you to have a dream bigger than your reality. And these individuals that are going to help you and encourage you are going to be people who are dreamers themselves, or they are people who have already arrived at where you're trying to go. And oftentimes, before you begin to see, you must rid yourself of clutter.
Thank you for watching Power for Living with Bishop Dale C. Bronner. Join us again next time for Power for Living, where revelation is power. Power for living.